into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hi, everybody. And welcome to another AfterBuzz After Show of Girls, Episode 7, Ask Me My Name. And my name just happens to be Autumn Chiklis, and my Twitter handle is @AutumnChiklis. My Instagram is the exact same thing, @AutumnChiklis. And I'm going to throw it over to my lovely co-host.
Hello, guys. It's Spicy Maddie, keeping it hot and sizzling as usual. You guys can play with my Twitter or stroke my Instagram @spicy_Maddie, SPICY_MARI.
And before we get into this episode of Girls, I just wanted to say that I had a fabulous opportunity about 2 weeks ago, actually, to have a private screening of a new ABC show called American Crime.
Nice.
And it was awesome. I mean, we're about to go talk about HBO. We're about to talk about non-network, but it was it kept up there. It was fantastic.
Like edge of the seat, kind of like, I know it's dealing with like race and politics and gender.
And it totally was. And I tend to be more of a, Netflix, HBO girl, but ABC right on. It was fantastic.
And it starts March 5th, I think, as well, right?
March 5th, 10/9 Central, this Thursday. So you guys better check it out. It was written by
John Ridley. Yeah, the screenwriter, 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, he's an Oscar winner, and it was absolutely fantastic.
And then who are the stars? Felicity Huffman,
Timothy
Hutton. They have some good headliners in there.
Yeah, and it's wonderfully acted, wonderfully written, and I absolutely loved it. So
yes, I'm for sure tuning in as well. You guys got to tune in too. And of course, we'll be doing an AfterBuzz after show for it on iTunes.
Yes. iTunes, and I think we're still on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm gonna actually try to get on that. But anyway, now on to this episode of Girls. Interestingly, we see Hannah thinking that she is now a helpful person, which is so funny to me that she has decided that she is this. Her goal is to be like helpful. She thinks she's this really helpful person when we know that she's one of the more selfish people that anyone has ever met.
Right.
So we open on her being a substitute teacher, talking about Oedipus, which was actually very funny. I loved seeing her in that environment. Actually,
in the teaching environment, because I was definitely scared of her with children.
Oh my God, absolutely. Definitely scared with her with children. But what was really nice was the fact that, I don't know, even though she obviously is still a sub and she had a lot to learn, she seemed to be happy right away. And then she met the teacher.
Yes, and she was even in class, she was bubbly. I like that she was complimenting the students and kind of finding a optimistic perspective of where they were coming from. I think she compared Oedipus to modern day MILFs.
Yeah, so it's like, this is where a MILF come from. So obviously she has a lot to learn about classroom etiquette. But it was nice to hear complimenting the other students and making it something other than herself.
Right. And that is rare, especially for Hannah. You guys know her very well.
And they kind of set up this whole romance with this guy, Fran.
Right. And I'm thinking that they're going to hit it off like they're joking. And she's making jokes about the juice box, saying Joe. And he asks her out. Hannah finally has a hot date.
Yeah. And he was so cute and so sweet and like right off the cuff. It's just like, hey, are we going to go get drinks tonight or what? So straightforward, which is kind of what she needs.
Yes.
No games. And so I'm thinking, all right, they just set her up in a very kind of not quite mature, but much better than she has in previous episodes.
Right.
She meets this guy. It's going to go well. And it starts going well.
We hope that it's going to be somebody that she's able to get over Adam with. We're like excited because Adam's moved on. Maybe now Hannah can move on. And of course, leave it to Hannah to
bring on her first date, and it's going so well. That's the thing that was so...
Yeah, they went out for drinks and were having a good time.
It's fantastic. And she's like, hey, I'm going to take you to this art show, which is great. I mean, I would love to go to an art show. That's a great date, in my opinion, because even if you hate the art, then you guys can talk about how much you hate the art, and it's fantastic. Or argue about it. I don't know. I like arguments on first dates. He did want to
stay there and have more drinks, and I appreciate that Fran was open to going to the art show. He was trying something different. You could tell he wasn't excited about it, but he was making the best out of it. He was putting the apron on as they walked in, and each apron said, ask me my name.
Yeah, ask me my name.
Yeah.
He was being a good sport, and it took me a second to register the fact that it was Mimi Rose's show. And once that registered, I realized just how much of a train wreck that idea was and just how manipulative and terrible and selfish it was. So leave it to Hannah, of course, to make it all about trying to see Adam and trying to indulge in herself on what is supposed to be and how it is going, a really, really wonderful date.
Well, okay, so separate from the date, her going to this actual event, which is Mimi Rose's art show, which is her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend's art show, is extremely disrespectful, not just to Adam, not just to Mimi Rose, but also to her current date.
This poor guy who thinks he's on a date, and now all of a sudden, she doesn't even tell him that that's where they're going. They just show up and he realizes, wait, this is your ex-boyfriend, and this is their...
So this is another Hannah example of just being not manipulative, but just selfish and inconsiderate. And what I thought was kind of inconsiderate as well was that Marnie was there with her boyfriend. And I don't think that you should ever... choose sides or anything like that, but I feel like her girlfriend should be a little bit more sensitive to the fact that she just got over this breakup with Adam, and the fact that Marnie and Jessa are there. You know, all that was missing was Shoshana, and you know Hannah's hurt, and then Marnie's coming at her like, well, what are you doing here? I just kind of felt like, have some loyalty to your girlfriend, though.
I completely agree, but it doesn't surprise me. Does that make sense? Like, I knew... There's no way that they should have been there, especially the circumstances surrounding how they broke up. The fact that she comes home and finds another girl in her apartment, and he didn't have the decency to tell her, which, by the way, I wasn't here the last 2 episodes, but not cool. Not cool. You have to have a dialogue and say, hey, I met someone else. You know, don't... just know when you come back to your own apartment, all your stuff is going to be gone. So considering he kind of dumped her in the way that he did, it's very weird that Marnie, and not Jessa, because we know why she's there.
Yeah, we know that Jessa was part of the reason that Adam got with Mimi Rose. So I understand that, because Jessa's not the greatest of friends when it doesn't have that much tact. But just Marnie, you're supposed to be, Hannah's best friend. What are you doing? Yeah. And then I guess Jessa was working the event too, didn't really understand that it was art. So was Adam. They're going around having people play this little girl, 7-year-old girl game, or
right. They had to stick to the script.
Yeah, they had a script, and so I get it. Everybody's trying to help Mimi Rose and everybody's experience at the art show. I just thought that there were certain levels that, okay, I'm not mad at Hannah for this, but I am mad at Hannah for coming in, kind of messing up the moment. But Mimi Rose handled it so well.
Yeah, she did handle it very, very well. Until much later, which was very confusing. We'll get to that, but the whole conversation between them in the laundromat was very strange to me.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
But her date winds up leaving, as any normal date would, any normal guy would. Fran wound up leaving once he saw that it was an awkward situation between Adam, who confronts Hannah for being there. He has every right to, but I don't think that he should have made it as much of a scene as he did.
Oh my God,
he should have just played it off like he didn't care, just like the way Mimi Rose did. Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. Let me know what you think of my art.
Yeah, and if not to that extent, at least hey, what are you doing here? Okay, we'll talk later. And something that's a little on the subtle side, he went off on her in the middle. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. How could you do this to me in front of her date? It was just tactless all around. It became very, very awkward.
What do you think that Hannah was trying to gain? Checking out Mimi Rose's artwork and finding a reason to dislike this person or not respect this person more, or make Adam jealous with her date?
I definitely think it leans more on the make Adam jealous of her date side.
Oh, okay.
Just because she had a cute date. I'm sure there is a level of her that wanted to be unimpressed by her work. But she could have... I don't think she would have gone alone. I guess that's my point. If she didn't have a date, I don't think she would have gone. I think the reason she ended up going was because she had someone to bring and show off. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, she even said a lot of the time when she first sees Adam, like, oh, this is my date.
Right.
I'm on a date. This is the guy. And completely ignores him in the process to the point where she doesn't even realize that he books it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I think, I definitely think she is not even remotely close to over Adam. And she was trying to rub in his face the fact that, oh yeah, look at how over you I am. You aren't the only person who's moved on. I'm so moved on. The wounds are so healed. I can come to your girlfriend's art show. Look at me being a big person.
Okay, I can see that. I can see her trying to show off how over the situation she is. Mm-hmm. Now, what was the point of having Ace there? Because now we're introduced to Mimi Rose's ex-boyfriend, and we recognize him from, what is he? He's been in The Hero, and I recognize his face. He's been in a lot of shows. But he usually plays like a villain type character. But now he is the awkward ex-boyfriend that we see has some similarities to Adam, but on 100. Like, he's extremely over the top, like random, has a toothbrush in his mouth, and...
That's so strange.
I don't know if those were boy shorts or culottes. I don't know what he had on, but he was just very awkward and weird as well.
Yeah.
But what was he doing there? Like, why invite any exes to anything?
And what was weird was Adam didn't realize, like, he met him for the first time there. And Mimi Rose also referred to him as, oh, like, my ex-partner's here too, so it's totally fine. And Adam's like, what? What do you mean your ex-partner is here? Oh, this guy? Okay. And then Mimi Rose says, oh, I will get in the car with Hannah, and you get in the car with my ex. It's just... I wonder who taught these characters decorum, if anyone ever bothered to. Because there's just a level of common sense, you know what I mean, that comes with, hey, this is a fresh wound. We're all kind of exes here. Even if you're the kind of person, like, I'm friends with some of my exes, like, it can happen depending, but do you really have to be so disrespectful of everyone in the room that you don't try to make it as... I respect her trying to make it not awkward, but in the process, she was incredibly inappropriate and insensitive to what is actually happening in the room. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a lot of elements of discomfort there. Even if you saw the way that Hannah was acting, she winds up kissing... Marnie's boyfriend
on the mouth. Desi,
I thought her kissing Desi was inappropriate too. Marnie didn't seem to mind it, but I think she just expects Hannah to be this weirdo, so I don't think that she thought much of it. But I just think everybody was in an uncomfortable element, and Mimi Rose was just making the best of the situation. But what I do find interesting, which was my original prediction that was revealed, I feel like, by Ace, her ex-boyfriend, was that Mimi Rose is not who she is pretending to be.
Yep.
And that was revealed this episode. She's kind of playing this whole innocent, artsy-fartsy thing because it works for her, but she's really a bad girl, and everybody's kind of like a pawn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, I knew that there was some element to that last episode with the whole abortion of it all, which was kind of came out of left field for me. But I didn't realize the extent of it until this episode. Because when she was being so, I guess, okay, if you want to use that word, with all of her ex-boyfriend and her current boyfriend and her current boyfriend's ex-girlfriend, that's one thing. But then the way she handles it onward, like in the cab and in the laundromat, leads me to believe that not only is she a bad girl, she's horribly manipulative. And her ex says that in the car.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder where this arc is going, this character development and the relationship with Adam.
Well, before I thought that Adam was going to realize that he's still in love with Hannah. Now I think that Mimi Rose might potentially break Adam's heart. I think that there's and we'll save it for predictions, but I think that they're setting it up so that we can start to see that she's not good for him, and that eventually what Ace is. But see, then it could be that Ace is just delusional, thinking that he's going to get his girlfriend or his ex back. Right. But at the same time, if there wasn't an opportunity for them to be back together, Mimi would keep him at a distance if she felt like he's still. I think that maybe might be using Adam as well, and invited Ace to play these games that Ace is probably used to playing with her.
Well, there was that other thing where she was telling Hannah at the end of the episode, well, if you tell me that you still want him back, maybe I would let you have him.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit.
What was that about?
So then we'll fast forward to the laundry, because I do want to talk about the laundry mat scene. They wind up getting into a car accident where Hannah is once again selfish about hitting a little old lady. But there's certain things that Mimi Rose is doing along this process that's leading them to the laundry mat. When they get into the car, she wants to make sure that Hadim is referred to by his name. I don't know if I'm saying if it's Hadim or Hadim. She wants to make sure that the taxi cab driver knows that he has a beautiful name, that he feels good about himself. Then they go into this little liquor store. She offers Hannah the last of the popsicles. She wants Hannah to know, look, I'm a caring and giving person. Then they go into the laundry mat. Here, let me put a poem inside your washer or dryer, whatever.
For 2 minutes.
Your panties or drawers. I'm just like, okay.
I don't buy it.
You're trying to sprinkle people with love, but what are you really up to? There's something behind that. And it's either an insecurity thing where she has to be liked, which she winds up admitting to us after Hannah confronts her about, hey, I think that this is an act and I think that you're being fake. And Mimi Rose admits, dang, I'm afraid that everybody feels that way.
I don't blame her if she thinks so, because she acts it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was so strange because I don't know about you, but I felt like her character this episode was drastically different than the character that we met in her first meeting and the last episode. Even though there were hints that she was a little off, it was not this extreme before. It's like they kind of developed her character really quickly to be this kind of person. Because last episode she even said that she had that whole speech with Adam about how I don't need you, but I love coming home to you. And it seemed very stable and understandable. And
that was like very I'm independent.
Yeah.
But this episode, she seemed more of like a lover and a healer.
Exactly.
And kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. Like it was very, let's just all get along and make peace.
Which I didn't get last episode, but I mean, obviously it's a character reveal. And I don't buy it. I don't buy that she's really that way.
No.
Not for a second. And I agree with you that I think that she will probably end up breaking Adam's heart. And then there was this weird add-in that Jessa wanted to get with the ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
It's like they just needed to add a whole new cast of characters to like put into the mix of the crazy love, because they started
triangles going
okay,
on.
Everyone's hooked up with everyone here. We need to add 5 new characters so that everyone can hook up with everyone in that circle.
So okay, so in regards to the Ace situation, before we get into that, because I do want to address what you just said, the situation where in the laundromat, and I didn't get an opportunity to say, you had mentioned her talking to Hannah about possibly giving away Adam.
Yeah, what was that?
So I think that goes back to the previous episode where we saw how independent she was and how much of a realist she was. Mm-hmm. And hey, who am I to get in the way of love? If you really care about somebody, you're not going to give them up, let alone offer them back to their ex. So that led me to believe even more that she's not in love with Adam.
Completely agree.
And after the reveal from Ace, I kind of do feel like, this is probably just a temporary hold, placement. So before she goes back to him, and that's why she's so willing to give Adam up. And she hasn't emotionally really invested in Adam. Or if you saw, she doesn't even value his opinion previous episode, because she's made certain moves that were just not rational, in my opinion, to somebody who's supposed to be so bright and rational.
Right. That's what was so kind of contradicting about her character to me. She, I don't know, there are a lot of things about her character, as it has been revealed in the last 3 or 4 episodes, that don't click to me. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm not 100% sure where her character is going and what her place is yet. But all I know is that she can't be trusted. And you're right, 100%. She doesn't care about Adam that much. If she's willing to say to his ex-girlfriend, oh yeah, I might be willing to give him back to you. First of all, isn't
was
that
pregnant
kind of
with his baby last week? So
and also, isn't that kind of his choice as well?
Yeah.
Am I crazy here? Or if you go back to your ex, isn't that a mutual understanding?
This is what makes her manipulative, because she had a plan for how she was
Right.
going to give him back to Hannah. And that's what makes it bad, is it's like the plan to get into your pants. That's when, somebody that somebody doesn't really care for you when they're strategically trying to get their way into something. Now she's strategically trying to get her way out to make room for Hannah, and wants Hannah to play this little game. Like, well, if we have a creative or recreational, I don't know, project that we're working on, creative project that we're all working on, I'll start to distance myself while you start to move in. What is that?
She called it a creative project. There's actually a play, and I think they made it into a movie called The Shape of Things that reminded me of. Sorry, I'm theater nerding all over the place, but
No, it's okay.
where, this girl who's an artist, she goes, a visual artist, she goes, oh, I'm going to change this guy and manipulate him, and it's going to be an art piece. And that's what it reminded me of. And in that show and in this episode, I was thinking, that's so not acceptable.
No, that's why I think that this is a pastime for her, and I think Ace knows that. Ace has probably seen her with 5 other guys and 5 other abortions, and she hinted at that, at how many she had previously in the prior episode. So I just really think that she's kind of, playing this puppeteer or doing this puppeteering, and that there's going to be a big reveal or a broken heart later.
Yeah.
But in regards to at the bar, they finally make it to the bar. She's like, let's go have drinks. What was it with Hannah admitting to Adam that she thinks that Mimi Rose is a cool person, or she gets it?
That was the last thing that I could not figure out. So they go through this whole ordeal, and it's clear to everyone watching that Mimi Rose is not a person to be trusted and does not get
unstable.
it. Very unstable, which maybe is why Hannah is so okay with her by the end of it. I actually, I think it's because she offered Adam back. So I think that she kind of, whatever Hannah's saying, she still loves Adam. She still wants him back, regardless of whether or not she's going to admit to it. So I think that what it might be is she's starting to go through with the plan.
I think that Hannah's going with the plan as well. Ding, ding. I was with you on that. I think Hannah is going through with the, hey, I get it. Let me be the cool
so
friend.
Great.
Yeah.
You know what? I just want you to be happy, and I'm going to be here when she dumps you on your ass, and then you'll come crawling back, which is not going to happen. Are we going to go to predictions, or is there anything else that we want to cover here?
I think you mentioned just Jessa earlier, saying that she was going after Ace. Okay, Ace doesn't seem like he would be Jessa's type in comparison to her previous. I mean, I know she likes dysfunctional men, but Ace doesn't seem necessarily dysfunctional. He just seems weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with him. Her previous lovers have all had issues, but if you even look at how Jessa Chu's when she got with her husband, her ex. Remember her ex-husband?
Yes.
That was. I don't know if that was kind of. A lot of it had to do with the money. A lot of it had to do with her wanting to be well taken care of. So she does show signs of manipulation as well in her relationships. So I can see her purposely trying to get one of her girlfriends with Adam so that she can have her boyfriend. That makes total and complete sense to me for Jessa.
Totally makes sense, but very out of left field. It was just a plot line that they kind of added. Which is interesting. That's what was interesting to me, is the fact that we had never met this character before. He has never been mentioned before. There is no sign of life.
Jess is saying, like, hey, I'm seeing something, so that we know.
Maybe we missed something, but
I don't know, because she would have mentioned him at the diner the other day when they were all together. Like, that would have been the perfect opportunity to say, oh, well, I got someone in my pocket too.
Exactly.
But she didn't, and I do think that could have just been additional writing that was tossed in there.
So I'm wondering, I guess my biggest question for this episode, and what I'm going to kind of push into predictions, is we have this new cast of characters. We have a bunch of new relationships established. Where are they going from here? Because they obviously have to go somewhere, unless they just drop all the characters, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
So you talk about relationships a lot. What's the relationship? What's the theme of this episode? I feel as if we're going to see, or it's going to be revealed to us, that crazy always goes back to crazy, because crazy doesn't know that it's crazy, and crazy is in love with crazy. And I think that Hannah's going to wind up with Adam because crazy loves crazy, and I think that Mimi Rose is going to wind up back with Ace, and I think that Jessa is going to wind up alone and doing something destructful because that's Jessa and she destroys shit.
Yeah,
So
pretty much. That is pretty much
so
it.
crazy loves crazy. Jessa's gonna be stuck to her old ways of craziness and probably wind up hooking up with somebody. And we know the Ace thing with her is not gonna work out.
Yeah, and we see should we go into predictions now? Let's go into predictions.
Doing predictions.
Yeah.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
We started on the predictions, but yeah,
Exactly.
I really think that's what's gonna happen. I think that I don't think that Mimi Rose has ever stopped seeing Ace. And last episode, I posed the question to Miriam when we were exiting the show. Do you think that the baby could have been somebody else's and maybe not Adam's?
Oh.
And because Mimi was like, oh, absolutely not. Of course it's yours. Mimi, you're a pathological liar, and you didn't tell the other previous people about abortions. You were looking to play the sympathy card with Adam. That's why you told him, but not because you necessarily thought that it was his.
Okay, yeah, I didn't actually... It crossed my mind, but I didn't actually kind of dwell on it, but I think you very well could be right. I think there's going to be a lot more with this ex and Mimi Rose, and I think you're right that Adam's heart is going to be broken. Whether or not him and Hannah get back together, I'm not sure. I feel like they might. I feel like it would make sense that they do. I don't think they should. I certainly don't think they should, but it's very possible that they do. I think you're right. Jessa's going to destroy things because that is what she does. The two people we didn't talk about because they weren't in this episode were Shosh and Ray.
Right.
And Ray seems to be going on he's starting to become political, isn't he?
Because Shosh has pushed him, and now he's running for office.
Yeah. How do you think he's going to be in office?
Well, I think that Shoshana is going to wind up having to be his campaign manager, and I think that she would be an awesome campaign manager, and she's going to wind up realizing that she has a love for politics.
That'll be interesting. She would be. Wow. Sorry, I was just watching House of Cards earlier.
I'm like on episode 4.
I'm putting like Shosh in a House of Cards setting and going,
we also
would
do
she
an
be
after
in
show
politics?
for House of Cards, guys.
Absolutely, and I will be there. But like, really, is she in politics? But I can see her getting into that world because she's great with appearances and she's great with managing appearances.
Public relations. I can totally see that.
So maybe this will be her opportunity to grow up a little bit and find what she's actually passionate about in the most kind of weird way you would never expect it.
And he's going to be attracted to that. Ray is going to be attracted to that because, once again, she's bringing something to his life. She's going to be making deposits where people usually make withdrawals. So I think that he's going to appreciate that and start to desire her a little bit, but she's going to start feeling herself and might not want him back at that point.
Absolutely. All right. I think we are ready to wrap it up here.
We are. Thank you guys for tuning in to another HBO Girls.
All right. You can catch us on YouTube and AfterBuzz TV and download us on iTunes, of course. I am Autumn Chiklis.
And I am Spicy Madi.
All right. We will see you guys for another episode of Girls next week.
Yes. Tweet at us, Instagram, Spicy_Madi.
And Autumn Chiklis, both Instagram and Twitter.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.